Do opposites attract? And introvert and extrovert, does it really matter? This is a big issue, because I hear a lot where people say, oh, opposites attract because, they balance each other out. Well, that's not exactly true. In theory, it sounds great, right? In life, with some things that is true, but not with dating and not with relationships. Introverts and extroverts are polar opposites. The extremity, we can't say how extreme those differences are going to be, because everybody's different. Like me, I'm an INTJ, which is, I'm exceptionally introverted. However, put me in front of a large group with something that I'm passionate about, and I can become the most extroverted person out there. I'll talk all night. So it kind of just depends. But fundamentally, this is something that, people often think that introverts are shy. That's not necessarily true. They may appear to be shy, but that's not really how it is. It's more, they're introverted. They're self-aware, and they look inward rather than outward. And this comes across as shyness, but it's not. Shyness can be overcome and changed, whereas being an introvert really can't. You can't fundamentally change your personality. It's very, very difficult to do that. So it's not like oh, I can fix this. No, why would you want to fix it? Why would you want to try to fix somebody else? That's not to say that two people who are polar opposite can't have a great relationship, because they can. It just takes a lot more effort. It takes a lot more understanding. It takes a lot more, both people have to be really, really understanding of the other and accepting. That's the big one, accepting of the other's difference. Because if you have an extrovert who wants to be in large crowds and group settings all the time, and you have an introvert who that's like everything they don't want, then you may have some problems. But if you fall in love with somebody who's the polar opposite of you, but you're accepting of who they are and you allow them to be who they are, then it can work. It's just a lot more work to do that. And it's important that you have the same core values, because that compatibility thing, that's the most important factor as far as longevity for a relationship. So if you go into it as opposites, it's going to be a lot more challenging. Doesn't mean it can't work. It doesn't mean it can't be great. Personally, I wouldn't set somebody up for that unless it was really a unique situation. But I typically would not match people who are polar opposites, because you're just asking for the differences to be the majority instead of the minority. And that makes things a lot more challenging and difficult. But you never know, so don't have a closed mind. But, like I said, be aware that, those traits, the introvert, extrovert, are not, you can't change that. And you have to be accepting of who the person is. Good luck.